Welcome to Jackie's Craft Table. Hi everyone. I'm back with part 2 of my 10 cards 1 kit for Pink and Main's very first card kit ever. It's called Crafty Courtyard. And the theme of this kit is It's a Party. So we're up to card number 6, and I'm using this cute sentiment that says woohoo, and a piece of the green cardstock. The ink I used was VersaFine Onyx Black, and I cut out several balloons with the second balloon die that didn't come with the string attached. I'm using some of the twine from the kit to put strings on these balloons, and I also used a piece of the pattern paper and cut a frame out of that. I'm adhering the balloons to the top corner of this frame. It seems I'm always needing birthday cards for kids. I also cut out some candles with the same cardstock, and I'm just going to adhere these down so that they just peek from behind the frame. These candle die cuts you can actually layer together, but I just liked the outline for this card. I'm going to put a solid candle right on the frame. I added a layer of foam adhesive onto the back of this frame, and this is where I'm going to attach my strings. I want the strings to slant down from the corner of the card. Then I can just snip off the ends of these strings. This foam tape really holds them tightly in place. Now I can peel off the rest and attach this to my green panel. I just think that looks so fun and happy. And I'm going to attach that to a white card base. I'm just using some of my dot liner for that. I'm pressing down pretty hard on this frame just to make sure it adheres well. And then for the inside, I used some more die cuts and strips of cardstock. I had a lot of fun creating card number 2. I'm going to do a little bit of sewing on the front of this card, and I thought these die cut stars would just be perfect to attach with some of the twine because they have holes in them. I'm using some green dye ink to stamp the sentiment Best Wishes on this piece of gray cardstock from the kit. It's going to be a pretty simple card, but it has a lot of impact, I think, with this sewn stripe down the edge. I want to show you something else I got from the Pink and Main online store. It's called Scrub It Clean. It's a pink microfiber cloth that you can use to clean your stamps. And these can go in the wash, and 2 came in this package. They're pretty cute, and I wanted to give it a try. I used a T-ruler to draw a line across my card panel. This will help to keep my sewing straight. And then I threaded my baker's twine onto a darning needle, and it was just too dull to pierce this paper, so I'm using a sharper needle to actually pierce the paper. And then I can just continue sewing with this larger needle. I couldn't get this baker twine into the smaller one, so that's why I'm using 2 needles. And then I'm just sewing these stars down the side of this panel. And if you give this a try, make sure you hold it down flat when you pull your string through, because I bent this panel. But I find it easier if you just push it down flat onto your mouse pad or whatever foam pad you have. And then it'll stay straight for you. I went ahead and erased my pencil mark. And I just had fun sewing down the side of this card panel. I just used some purple tape to attach the twine to the back of my card. Then I'm using a green card base to attach this panel to, and that is all I'm doing. I think it's just simple, but very pretty and fun. Next, I'm creating a baby card, and I'm using the large sentiment that says congratulations. And I'm going to heat emboss this with some white embossing powder. So I'm inking it up with some Versamark ink first. And then I can just pour on the white embossing powder. and melting that powder. It's kind of hard to see because it's white on white. I'm going to be doing some Distress Oxide blending over this panel, and I'm using colors that will work for a boy or a girl. So I'm going to use Squeezed Lemonade, Twisted Citron, and Cracked Pistachio. But first I'm going to die cut this sentiment with a scalloped square die. This is a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock that I'm using. I like to do my ink blending on this kind of paper. It just goes on very smoothly. So I'm starting out with my Twisted Citron, and it just wasn't dark enough for me. I came in with several layers, and that's when I pulled out my Cracked Pistachio, just to darken it a bit. And I'm not going all the way to the edges either. And then you can just buff off the extra Distress Oxide that's gotten onto your embossed letters. Really brightens it up. I'm using more scraps of Fun Foam to put behind this panel. I tried something on the back of this panel, but I didn't like the effect, so I'm just flipping it over and using the other side. I'm gluing that down to the top of my card so that I can add this cute little bow at the bottom. I'm going to add more glue dots to the back of this bow. I use quite a lot just to keep it in place, make sure it doesn't go anywhere if you mail it out. I'm going to attach this underneath my sentiment. Then, of course, I have to use some of these beautiful glossy dots. I'm using the bright yellow ones across this panel. And this was just a quick and easy card to put together. And I'll probably make up multiples of this one. I really like how it turned out. I'll have to get more bows, though. On my next card, I'm using another piece of the gray cardstock from this kit. I used up every piece of this gray cardstock. I really enjoyed working with it. And I'm using the sentiment that says cheers. I'm just using some extreme black ink from MFT to stamp that out. This time I am going to layer the candles. So the bottom layer is yellow on all of these. And then I cut out different colors of cardstock for the top layer. I think these look so cute when they're layered. And I'm making up several. I'm not sure I'm going to use them all, but I wanted to have enough. I'm going to mat my sentiment with a piece of the blue cardstock. Guess I should have used some liquid glue for this. Just wanted to get everything straight. I was having fun with this baker's twine. I really like the green color. So I'm going to use more on this card. I'm going to tie a little bow underneath the sentiment. And I wrapped it around a few times. I just like the thickness of that. On the back of this panel, I'm going to use some double-sided adhesive to keep my baker's twine in place. And I'm also going to use some dot liner just to make sure this doesn't go anywhere in the mail. I chose to put this on a piece of the pattern paper with the balloons. All the pattern paper from this kit was so adorable. And now I'm going to glue the candles around my sentiment. It would be cute to even put some foam tape behind these or some fun foam just to add a little dimension. I didn't think of that at the time. And then I'm going to just add this to another white card base. And that finishes off card number 9. On card number 10, I'm going to use the sentiment that says "Let's Party" again. And I'm going to emboss this onto a piece of black cardstock with some white embossing powder. And I already went ahead and die cut a circle with a faux stitch die around it. And then I can just pour on my white embossing powder, and it really pops off of the black cardstock. Being careful to melt this slowly so that it doesn't warp my circle. And you can still kind of see the anti-static powder that I treated this cardstock with, but that will buff right off with a clean cloth. On the other piece of this panel, I'm going to do even more heat embossing, and I'm going to stamp up these stars with some more Versamark ink. I'm using a few of the different ones from the stamp set. There are several sizes. I'm using more of the metallic silver sparkle embossing powder, and this looks very striking on this black cardstock. I'm stamping out about 3 at a time, because it's hard to see once you stamp it, so I don't want to forget and put my finger where I stamped. And then I'll heat emboss this at the same time. And this will help me to keep it from warping too badly. Now that all my stamping is done, I'm going to melt this embossing powder. It turns such a bright, sparkly silver once it's melted. It's so pretty. And I made sure to heat up this heat tool for a good minute before I brought it to my card panel. So if you haven't guessed already, this card is going to be a shaker card. I wanted to use some of the sequins that came in this kit. I put the acetate on my front panel, and now I'm just gluing down my sentiment onto another piece of the pattern paper from this kit. I put a double layer of foam tape on the back of this panel. Now I can just press that into place. I'm pressing it down firmly so that I don't lose any of my sequins. On the inside of the card, I used a leftover scrap of the pattern paper. And now I can attach my shaker to my card base. And that completes card number 10. I think the black cardstock on this card really makes the sequins and the stars stand out. So Pink and Main's card kit goes on sale today if you're watching it on February 23rd of 2019. They will be shipping it out on March 15th. I really had a blast playing with this card kit, and I hope you enjoyed watching the cards I created with it. Have a lovely day, everyone. I hope you all get a chance to sit down and craft some cards of your own. As always, my friends, thanks so much for watching. Bye.